Hi, welcome back to Sideninehomestead. This is Jody, and today I'm going to show you our weekly meal prep for our carnivore lifestyle. So you can see here all the wonderful things we made today. We have some fresh bacon, some hot sausage, a pastrami omelet, kielbasa, some really thick and wonderful New York strip steaks, and these are called pig shots. So if you want to know how to make these, stay tuned. So we are starting our meal prep for today. This is Sunday, so we are going to prep a little bit for the week and also make a dinner for tonight. So we're going to start with something that actually was in the comments on one of our videos. Someone mentioned that when they go out for breakfast that they have a pastrami omelet. And that sounded so good to us. We love pastrami. So since I like Reubens, but we can't do the sauerkraut, so I thought we would do the Swiss cheese with the pastrami and make it into an omelet. So we're gonna give it a try. Okay, I have my ingredients out here. Of course, some salt and pepper, our pastrami, some Swiss cheese, and eggs from our chickens. So we're gonna get started. So the first thing I wanna do is chop up the pastrami. I'm not sure quite how much I'll end up using. I just kind of grabbed, this is probably almost a half a pound between what's here. I just kind of wanted to chop it into smaller pieces, just like you would see if, you know, maybe someone used ham or something like that in an omelet. All right, I'm going to start with the eggs. I think I'm going to use maybe 5 or 6 eggs for this omelet. You can see how nice and bright and big these yolks are. We're really particular about what we feed our chickens. We want to make sure that their eggs are as healthy as possible. And now we're going to mix this up. All right, we're about ready to start making the omelet, so I'm going to cut a piece of butter off for the bottom of the pan and get the pan starting to warm up. All right, I'm going to start our Camp Chef stove here. We normally like to use this when we are canning, but it'll work perfect for this. Put this on like a medium low. I don't want it real high. These burners sometimes can run a little hot. So I'm just gonna let this butter melt a little bit. Okay, our butter is all melted, so I'm gonna just add our pastrami. So that's a total of about 2 tablespoons that I put in there. Alright, this has been sauteing in the butter probably like 4 or 5 minutes. It doesn't need cooked or anything. I just kind of wanted it to soak up a little bit of the butter flavor and be ready to go. So just trying to break it up because it was kind of layered there a little bit. So it looks good to me. I think we are ready to add our eggs. Alright, now I'm going to cover this for just a few minutes, just until the bottom gets set, and then we'll take it back. Alright, this is looking pretty good. We're going to add the cheese. Make sure I'm down on low now, because I don't want it to burn. So this is just some shredded Swiss cheese. Really best if you can shred your own cheese so you don't have the coating that's on it, which is kind of gross. Powdery. Did you know that it actually comes from like tree pulp? Something like that. Cellulose. Look it up. Alright, that looks good. And Well, this is always the part that's the hard. So I usually use 2 spatulas. So we can really get under there. Whoop. That's alright. This isn't a restaurant. No judgments, please. Alright, and I'm going to put the lid back on just so the rest of the egg will cook and the cheese will melt. And I just want to check it to see how it's looking. Oh, it's cooking up really nice. Just want to let a little bit more of this area over here cook, and then it'll be ready. Alright, I think this is about ready, so let's take a look. Oh, that looks amazing. Alright, so let me shut off my little stove here. Okay, so let's cut this bad boy in half. And from past experience, because I used to make a lot of omelets, these things are usually very filling. So even though it only used 6 eggs, I think we'll easily get 4 servings out of that. So you can look at it looks so good. All the Swiss cheese melted, the butter, and the pastrami. I think we're ready to try it. Alright, it's time to take the official taste test. So let's see how this turned out. It actually smells like a Reuben. Oh my gosh, that is the best omelet I've ever had. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. Thank you to whoever put that in the comments. I'll have to look and see who it is so we can give you a shout out. This is the best omelet. As you can see, super fast, really easy. Pastrami can be a little bit expensive, but it's totally worth it. Someday I'll learn how to make my own. I don't know when that'll be, but at some point. But until then, we'll definitely be adding this to our breakfast rotation. So we hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned because we're going to do some more prep. Alright, next up on the menu is something called pig shots. We saw a couple videos where people did variations of this, so we're going to give it a try. So the first thing we need to do, we have a brick of cream cheese here, and we are going to put this on the smoker and let that smoke for a little bit. So just until it's kind of soft. We don't want it to melt, but just enough. So I'm going to get a piece of foil. Unwrap the cream cheese and put it on there and stick it on the smoker. Alright, first thing I need to do is add some extra wood to our smoker. So I'm going to get them, I have them soaking here in this bucket of water. So we'll get them out of here, throw them in there. So that way, this was another tip from our comments, so we appreciate that. So we're going to give this a try. So hopefully then they won't flame up and kind of burn. They'll kind of more smolder and get that smoke that we want. So I have my brick of cream cheese here. I'm just going to put it just like this onto the smoker. Now you can also, some people will put seasonings on here. I'm not going to do that because there's going to be a lot of flavors in the other ingredients with the pig shot, so I'm just going to leave it plain. And now we wait. Right, next thing we have to do is cut our kielbasa into little coins. So I'm going to go ahead and start slicing these. You just want to make them thick enough so that once you are wrapping them with the bacon, which I'll show you, you want to be able to stick a toothpick in this way. Alright, while I am waiting for the cream cheese to smoke, since we're doing some of our meal prep, I do have 2 ginormous New York strip steaks that I am going to throw on because they are going to take a very long time. So you can see how thick these bad boys are. It's, maybe 1.5 inches, maybe a little more. So we're going to go ahead and get these on as well. Alright, when I was defrosting the kielbasa for the pig shots, I had kind of frozen them with 2 big lengths together. So we're just gonna cut this into bigger pieces and throw this on the smoker as well. So that'll be something else we can eat this week. You can see here the cream cheese is starting to get a little bit of color on the edges. Hopefully you can see that in the video. So it's taking on that smoke. It's getting a little bit browned, almost like a golden yellow. So it's coming along. So the biggest thing with meal prepping is to multitask. So I have my steaks and my kibasi on the smoker. I also have my cream cheese on there. I'm waiting for that to finish. So I'm preheating my Blackstone here so I can cook my bacon. I did put a layer of lard on the top, so I have that. So we're just kind of waiting for this to heat up, and then I'm going to cook my bacon. And then hopefully by then the cream cheese will be done and we'll be good to go. Alright, I'm multitasking pretty quickly because cream cheese looks just about done. Like I said, I don't want it to melt. So it has a nice golden hue to it, so I'm just going to pull that off. You can see I'm at my smash burger press there. That's because the ends start to curl up, and then they don't really cook right. So I kind of just smash the ends when they curl, move it around as I go, just to try to get all the pieces. Another tip for you. Another way to help prevent it from curling is if you keep your bacon really, really cold until you're ready to cook it. It'll stay pretty flat then. I did have this out for a little bit before we came outside, so that's probably why I'm getting all the curling. Okay, so now got the bacon done, so my cream cheese, it's cooled off enough that we can move it without burning ourselves. So I'm just going to put that into my bowl. And then here I have some freshly grated sharp cheddar cheese. I think this was like an extra sharp cheddar, so it's kind of real dry. But again, always make sure you're shredding your own cheese because it doesn't have that nasty coating and stuff on it, so it'll melt much better. So I'm not sure quite how much I'm going to end up using of this. The initial recipe that I saw, they added, I think, jalapenos and some other stuff to it. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to add the cheese with the cream cheese and some salt and pepper. Some salt and a little bit of pepper. And now I'm going to mix that up. And this is going to be what we're going to fill the pig shots with. So you can see when the cream cheese is smoked like that, it's kind of warm, so it's easily mixed with something else. Alright, I have some Wagyu tallow here that I'm going to use to put on my steaks. So I just flipped the steaks. You can see they're looking pretty good. They have a nice sear on the bottom, but it's not too much. So I'm just going to carefully put the Wagyu on the top. Sometimes you have to use your finger to get it off. That's unfortunately what I have to do. Another thing we threw on were some hot sausages. Always want to make sure you're maximizing your grill and smoker space, and if you have it all heated up, you might as well fill it with some other stuff. Okay, we are ready to make our pig shots. So in the bowl I have the cream cheese that I mixed with the sharp cheddar cheese that I shredded. I have some thin cut bacon So what I'm going to do is take one of my kielbasa coins and we're just going to kind of roll it around it so it almost forms like a little cup. So we'll see how, it's a little tricky to work with because the bacon is thin. Okay, so it looks like that on the bottom, and then the top part, you kind of have to pry it open a little bit, but it's like your little shot glass, so to speak. So let me get a toothpick, and that's going to help hold everything together. Just want to make sure you get it into the kielbasa, and then, oops, that one went a little high, and then straight through on the other side. Okay, so then kind of open this up a little bit, and we'll get a spoon with our cream cheese mixture and just put that in the center. Probably put a little bit more in there. And that's it. I'm going to set these over here. We'll keep building these, and then we will get them on the smoker. All right, our steaks are done. They're temping at about 125 to 130, which is where we like them. We'll take them off and let them rest before we cut into them. Our kielbasa is done as well. You can see it has a nice color to those. Now those are pre-cooked, so we really were just kind of browning them. It's always surprising to me how fast things cook. You don't think it's going to cook fast, and then it really does. All right, our pig shots are ready to go on to the smoker. So I'm just going to leave them on this tray just because it's easier to get it on and off. Hopefully I won't burn myself. All right, we're just going to close the lid, let those cook for a little while. We'll just kind of keep an eye on them because really what we're looking for is the bacon to cook. So once the bacon's browned, then we're good to go. Okay, our pig shots are all done. So I have them here on my cutting board. They look amazing, nice and smoky from the smoker. I have one that's cut in half here so you can kind of see the cross section of it. The kielbasa at the bottom with the cream cheese mixture on top, which got really nicely browned. You can see that on the camera. They turned out amazing. So let's just see how they taste. Wow. The smoky cream cheese adds a whole different flavor to it. I can see why people would put jalapenos though, but maybe you could use like a pepper jack cheese. These would be an excellent appetizer for a party, maybe a tailgate if you're doing something like that. They're really good. A little time consuming, but they're definitely worth it. So I hope you'll give them a try. So you can see here all the wonderful things we made today. We have some fresh bacon, some hot sausage, a pastrami omelet, kielbasa, some really thick and wonderful New York strip steaks, and these are called pig shots.